Broads Media.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome on into Sports Talk with Broads. No Mekhi Becton. Mekhi Becton will not be playing for the Birds. The longer it went, I was actually starting to convince myself that we had a real shot to slither on through and find a way at the very last second to have him put on that Birds uniform again. They'll be okay. I am comfortable with Tyler Steen and Green, who you got in the CJ-GJ deal. I'm cool. I'm chilling. I think we'll be just fine. More than just fine. They're going to be a top offensive line in football. But you are going to get Jeff Stoutland to put his hands on another former first rounder. And we saw what happened the first go around. Just like we just won a Super Bowl losing a Hall of Fame center. Do you not truly process what the hell that means? That's crazy. Jordan Mailata never played the sport, and if this progress continues, and if he stays on this path, he's going to go down as one of the best left tackles in Eagles history. And there's a lot to choose from. There are some big names, important staples of this franchise. And he's going to be in the mix. The guy never played the sport. That's Jeff Stoutland. So why would I get nervous? Why would I lose sleep? Trust me, I would prefer Mekhi Becton. I wanted Howie to go Zach Baun, Mekhi Becton, and then we can push through with losing the Josh Sweats, the Milton Williams, and all of that. I would have been 2 thumbs up. That's a good start. Let's see how Howie starts off this following campaign. But it's okay if he looks at his 2 years, $20 million. He didn't break the bank with the biggie. You know what I mean? I think he had a weird market value only because is he a tackle? Is he a guard? And how much of the league looks at Philadelphia as such a great unit that they don't know if they trust some of their own. Maybe not Los Angeles in particular, but some of the other teams that were interested in offensive line help, because who wouldn't, right? Who wouldn't? Everyone's chasing to be us. So when that name is dancing around looking for some deals, people were probably afraid to commit certain things. They go, I don't have Lane Johnson. I don't have Jeff Stoutland. So 2 years, 20. If only there was a little more wiggle room with whatever their cat mess is currently. And I call it mess, but it's Howie's version of a mess, which is a tiny little drop. Imagine having a gallon of milk. Some people, when they drop it, it explodes, and you know what I mean? This is Howie Roseman dropping a gallon of milk, winning a Super Bowl. Somehow that's dropping a gallon of milk. This is stupid already. But instead of it exploding when it hits the ground, there's 3 drops of a puddle. And you don't even need to get a napkin or a paper towel. You just go sock. You just go shoe. Do a couple twists. That's the small amount that's spilled. That's Howie's version of this mess. That's what I was trying to get to. All right, I actually have some audio for you from Reuben Frank and Dave Zangaro on their Eagle Eye pod talking about Howie's approach with Mekhi Becton in free agency and just his approach in totality with the offseason. And then there's a clip about where they should go from here with right guard open. First, though, I've been telling you about my friends over at Greenlaw and Fertilizing for quite some time now, and they are the best. I mean, the best in the Philadelphia area, PA, New Jersey, Delaware. Listen to this. Any new customers who sign up between March 17th and March 21st will be entered to win 4 lower-level Phillies tickets. Yeah. And you're going to have the sexiest lawn in the neighborhood, too, by the way. They are so knowledgeable. They've created their own custom blend. It's insane. And by the way, it is so important to lay the groundwork for the rest of the season. The first round, you got to get it done. So they are actually offering 2 free treatments and 10% off for the early birds. Green Lawn Fertilizing officially started treating lawns already. So for them, spring is here. Make sure you check out the link in the description, which will take you right to Green Lawn Fertilizing's link, and it will be right through my name. It'll say, Brode sent you. It'll help me out tremendously, and obviously it'll help you out tremendously with how beautiful your grass is going. Everyone's going to be so jealous. Damn. See Brode's house? Yeah. You know what I mean? Tyler Steen. Is that the right move? Green, is that the right move? Here's Ruben Frank on the Eagle Eye Pod sharing his thoughts.
It's, you love consistency, but they've made do with new guy every year. And, we'll see how it goes. I'm still not convinced it's going to be Tyler Steen. Maybe they draft a guy in the middle rounds who they like, who they believe can start from the get-go. I think he'll compete for it. We'll see if Kenyon Green is in that competition. I guess he probably will be. I don't feel great about either one of them.
So I feel a little bit better than Rube does there about it. I think you can win a lot of football games with Tyler Steen, and he's only going to get better. Now, is it really a product of who Tyler Steen is, or is it everybody else and having all pros and having, that type of premier talent across the board? Of course, it's about the other guys more than it is Tyler Steen. But this offensive line with Tyler Steen playing right guard, I think you're winning 12 regular season games. Okay? And before you think that's not good enough, I won a Super Bowl. 2022 Chiefs, 14 wins in the regular season. 2023 Chiefs, 11 wins in the regular season. There's a natural sort of toughness that occurs after you win the bowl. I'll take a 12-win season next year right now. Sign me up, dotted line. You're in the mix for a top potential seed in the NFC. Maybe there's a team that has 13 and you end up being a 2 seed again. I don't give a damn. We got a winning pedigree now. We got a team that you are afraid to see in the playoffs. Nobody wants to go up against Jalen Saquon, Jalen Carter. I promise you that. Nobody wants to go against what we bring in Q in the secondary. Nobody. We have that fear now. I just saw a TikTok, and it was Spags talking about how long it's been since he watched the Super Bowl tape. He was so scarred of what Jalen Hurts did, my man couldn't fucking watch for 17 days. 17 days. It was haunting him what AJ is doing out there. Jalen, as he's reading the field, going through his progressions, dimes to Devontae to go up 34-0. It was 34-0. 34-0. You know how many times I've been able this season to just be obnoxious and repeat something that is so mind-blowing because this Eagles football team is on a different level than anybody else? 34-0 in the Super Bowl. 300 yards alone. Remember that? Saquon, 300 alone. 300. The list goes on and on. The fact that I can do that 5, 6, 7 different times throughout this regular season. This team's nuts. And they still have a lot of that talent. It makes sense to realize what walked out the door because you can't be naive. You lost some guys. You lost some important complementary pieces, important starters. You missed out on a couple really important pieces to last year's success. But there's still a lot here that produced and was a bigger part to that success. Jalen Carter is a bigger part than Josh Sweat, than Milton Williams. Still here, okay? Still here. Nolan Smith. One thing I would like to see if Jordan Davis can eat up more snaps. But you know what his skill set is, and before you mention anything about how many sacks he had in the playoffs, and people are comparing that to Josh Sweat, what do you mean, bros? Jordan Davis got to the... You know what he does. Those games were blowouts, and it was fun as hell, and the defensive line was eaten, but listen, that was unfair. Those sacks were fun as hell, and very worthy of getting, by the way. Jordan Davis was a first-round pick that is eating up the same amount of snaps as a Jomo. Milton Williams out there way more, providing more. It's not like he doesn't do anything, okay? Don't want to downplay what he does do. Eats up space, big man. On a couple of early downs, can do something that creates a spark. His physical presence does wear you down. It is draining because it is a big body. But there was always talk about who he is conditionally. There were always talks about how much he can actually give you because he may be limited. Now that you're losing Milton Williams, I think Jordan Davis has been around long enough to expect some growth, some more. Give us some more, man. Now's the time. And I like Jordan Davis a lot. This is no knock on his skill set, but I do think eventually these first-round picks, some of them have already contributed at a wow level, like Cooper DeJean and Q, and, Jalen Carter hit a wall a little bit, but to his credit, what did he do? Now, he's nonstop. Now, he's getting 80+% just putting his hand in the dirt and going. Eating up double teams, swallowing human beings, getting to the quarterback, giving lanes for others to explode and get some sacks and create pressure. And he lasts a long time doing it. He doesn't hit a wall late in the season. He elevated himself. I need more from Jordan Davis. He's not going to be out there on non-running downs and all, but can he learn to be? Or is this the bubble he stays in? And if this is the bubble he stays in, it's an interesting discussion to have. I just got a little sidetracked, but I'm trying to figure out not just that right guard, but how this team is going to fill some of the holes and some of the snap percentages that a CJGJ ate. Is that Sidney Brown? And Seth Joyner did an awesome hit on social. It was super quick, but it was just talking about his aggression and how he plays with his hair on fire, and he's going to have to learn how to tame that. He's got good spirit for sure. He's got good fight, and he's got the energy, and all that's phenomenal. But you have to find a way to almost be a mathematician out there with geometry. You got to work on your angles. A lot of this at this speed and at this level it's about the geometry and angling guys out of bounds and keeping people in front of you and all that stuff. He just goes, puts the head down, and see what he can do. He's just, if anybody watches UFC, right, there are certain fighters that get into that octagon and they are there to put on a show, and they don't give a damn if they lose technique. They don't care about if they screw up here or there because they want to entertain and they just want to throw hands. The Diaz brothers, entertainment. Michael Chandler, entertainment. Justin Gaethje, he's somewhere in between that, but entertainment's their value. I wonder if that's something that we're thinking about with this. Is that where we are with that? The entertainment being the value with Sidney Brown. You have to somehow mold Sidney Brown to play more technical, because you're going to get burnt. And then there was also, I know there's a lot of people in town who are not necessarily enjoying Marcus Hayes and what he has put out on the Inquirer, but he put out a piece recently showing some of the deficiencies from CJGJ in the defense and missing assignments and playing sort of a free-for-all game at times. Ball hawking and getting out of what Vic Fangio wanted to do, apparently. And maybe that had more to do with the reason why you move off of them and the money as well, some of the cash flow. Now everybody's starting to realize that some of this has to do with cash flow and not cap space. And this offseason was definitely a lot of learning for this fan base and Howie and Lori and what they like to do to try to manipulate things. And we're now trying our very best to get our ear as close to all the details so we can figure this puppy out. We're just so used to saying, screw it, who cares? But after you draft so well for so long, you have to forward think into some of these names. We give Howie all this credit for all the amazing drafting, but at some point, the amazing drafting needs to get what they earn, right? They got to start getting their dough. They got to get their bread. And when that's the case, you got to make harsh decisions, especially when certain contracts are hitting free agency that year. The market was never going to be able to be playable for us. Is it at a point that I didn't think we'd get to? Yeah, probably. Seriously, some of these one-year deals are laughable. I actually cracked up and spit flew out of my mouth when I saw that there were void years on a 1 year, 1.5 mil, something like that, whatever the numbers were. Crazy. That's ludicrous. All right, let's go more on the Eagle Eye Pod. This is sort of how he's approached this offseason and then how it ties together with losing Mekhi Becton.
Yeah, and he was really the last guy that you're holding out some sort of hope that he would come back. But I think you made a great point. I think it was yesterday, just that it might not be the money as much as the comp pick. It's both, but if Howie's playing the comp pick game, if you re-sign Becton, that's a pick you're not going to get. So he was very consistent in his whole philosophy this whole week.
All right, so my question now is, would it bother you if it was strictly about comp picks for Mekhi Becton? Now, we know it definitely had to do with finances, okay, with the money, because they are strapped. You can see it. Their decisions are telling you everything. Watch what they do, not what they say, and what they're doing screams, we got to get super, super cute. We normally get cute. We normally manipulate. Now, we are backed into a corner, but we can still do this. Just work with me. It's not to the point where you're fucked. I don't think there's ever a chance with Howie Roseman you're truly fucked. Say that to the Carson Wentz deal. Hey, come on, man. And watch what we do with Bryce Huff. Either he's going to contribute more, maybe not to the level of the contract, but I was talking about this a few days ago. Could you see a world where he gets 5 sacks? Can we get 5 sacks? No, he had double digits. He had 10 a few years ago, but can we get 5.5? You're losing a lot. Brandon Graham, Josh Sweat, Jalix Hunt will give you something. Ajoma will give you something, but you need pass rush. Well, I'm just saying, maybe there's some internal hunger. I was a healthy scratch for a Super Bowl win. I was signed to be the fresh blood in Philadelphia to dominate the trenches, and I underperformed so bad that I wasn't even allowed to play. I wasn't even allowed to get dressed. Does he look himself in the mirror this offseason and apply this ferocious intensity to become a phenomenal player for you? That's best case scenario, and I'm not going to believe that until I see that. But can he be serviceable? Serviceable is important because you have to calculate for those missed sacks. And everybody is important right now because you are thin in certain areas. And I think there's still moves that can be made to help that. I believe that's part of what Howie is going to do and check in on. The draft is another asset that he can use to get more of that talent on the defensive line. But what do you think about Bryce Huff? Maybe having a little life. And a little life right now is important. 5 sacks, 6. If someone gets 5 or 6 sacks, that's a big, important complimentary piece. We've kind of dabbled all over the place, huh? I tried my best to stay on track. I tried my best to stay with Mekhi Becton, but I don't know. I danced around a little bit. What do you know? Hey, dancing's better when you have garage beer. That I do know. Best beer on the planet. Don't worry about any IPA. 0% IPA. 100% light beer. 1,000% quality. DrinkGarageBeer.com. March Madness is coming, right? You don't think it would be electric to walk into the house with the boys and say, yo, boys, I got garage beer. Ho-ho! You start shotgunning on, putting the keys in, and then you're watching game 1 of March Madness. Dude. DrinkGarageBeer.com. All right, let's go to the Anytime Hotline and hear from you how you are feeling about the current state of this team. Oh, real quickly, somebody brought up Fred Johnson. UFA. Nobody out there knows about Fred Johnson, all right? Versatile, tackle guard, did a decent job. Can you bring him back? I can't imagine that breaks the bank. I know we're pinching pennies. I know we are down there and it's tough. Can we get Fred Johnson back? I think he could beat out Tyler Steen. And Green, I think Green's ceiling's actually pretty damn high. It could happen rather quickly and just right at the start of camp, we'll know. We don't have to worry about the beats saying, hey, I think Steen looked better this day. No, you know what? I think Green looked better this day. You know what, Steen? You know what? No. Maybe it's, this Green kid? Yep, Stoutland did his magic again. Yep, Stout did his work again. He's by far better than Steen. He looks good. He looks like a first-round guard type of talent. Let's go, baby. 4 or 5 practices in. Maybe we get that. Maybe it's one of those things where Steen wins originally and has to miss time due to an ankle or something, and then Green steps in, and then from there he's good to go, and he just steals the job, and he sneaks and nestles in. I don't know. Fred Johnson, though. Fred Johnson. We got to Fred Johnson. We got all the way to Fred Johnson. The hell is the matter with us? Let's go to the phones.
Hey, Broads. As time and time goes on here, we're starting to make moves, but for kind of some low-end guys I haven't really heard of, and it's trending towards more and more of Dallas Goedert getting traded. I just didn't know what your thoughts on that was, and then what would you be willing to take for him? I saw something today that was like, would you take this 5th round pick in this year's draft from the Chargers for him? And I was just like, hell no. But curious where your thoughts are.
Well, I think that's what it's going to be. It's similar to that. It's what happened with Deebo Samuel. Not that Deebo Samuel is this phenomenal player, but the name pops in around league circles. I think that you would expect more than what was given up for him. He wants money. Dallas Goedert wants money. He's 30 years old at his age. When these guys get moved on the final year of the deal, looking for more, they normally go for a round pick that doesn't normally correlate with their talent value. So it may be a 5th round pick. And then now he uses a bunch of his ammo and he piles it together to move up between the 3rds and the 4ths and the 5ths. And then he gets all creative and gets a better player in the 3rd round than he would have, or 2nd round than he would have. I don't know. Maybe he throws a lot of darts at the dartboard. Maybe he moves them back even more to double what he already did. And then he can even play the super long game with it. We've seen him do that, make trades on draft day. That's like, all right, he's just not stopping. This is just continuing. Moving back. I don't know. I don't know what's in that brain of Howie's. I try to get in there every day, and you see where that has taken me through my life. It's been a hell of a ride. Dallas Goedert going to a different city. I remember reading a tweet from Zach Berman. And he laid out the cash flow of CJGJ's deal and how it impacts that more than cash space. And he said, do not be surprised if the Eagles have to make a decision very similar to this when it comes to Dallas Goedert as they look at their future with the younger first-round draft picks, the younger second-round draft picks that are eventually going to need a payday. This is how they're going to have to shed money. This is the route they have to take to get there. So if you want reasonable hits for Jalen Carter, we looked it up. Chris Jones was getting paid, $31 million or so. Jalen Carter's going to be in that 35 range. Now, of course, Howie Roseman's going to do things where, similar to Jalen Hurts, he got that fat contract, and then one of those years, his salary hit is 13 mil on the books. So it's not going to hit at 35, but when you see the AAV and you see the average amount, we're going to be paying a young 20-year-old defensive tackle, the best defensive tackle in football, 35 plus. You're going to be doing something crazy with Quinyon and Cooper DeJean, and you have to get that done now. Not saying physically, saying your preparation for it. The prep work begins in advance. So you pay them early, just off of the normal schedule. You pay them early on purpose. You have to start even before many start normally. That's how much you have to prepare because you're paying them earlier. You're already one step further ahead because you get out instead of franchise tags and this and that. And then you got people angry looking for their deal and they don't want to play and they don't want to show up. No, you want to take care of them. So you got to start that process and start getting all the number crunching done way in advance. Now this is the best time to do it when a lot of these big-time free agents went to their new cities and got paid their bag. You might have to move Goddard. You might have to move Goddard. There should be more in this passing game, though, even without Goddard. If it's one of these new tight ends, if it's Grant Calcaterra, however they elect to go about it with the tight end position. I took a call that said they wanted us to go after Penn State's tight end. Listen, we're drafting at 32. There's no way in hell you're getting that stud. There's no way in hell you're making that happen. What do you mean, bros? If they lose Goddard, you don't think they'll go draft a tight end like that? No. No. No, I don't. Howie Roseman would not use that type of ammo to go up for a tight end. Maybe I'm nuts. He did just pay an all-pro linebacker. He did just pay Saquon Barkley. Maybe this is the next wave of, wow, unconventional. You're not joking. But that ain't happening. They're getting help on defense. They feel comfortable with the amount of money spent on O, but they did lose some names on D. They're looking at the draft to try and help out. You just won a bowl with rookies. I don't think they're afraid to play rookies anymore. I think they're actually more willing to throw them into the fire. Whether a big part of this is it's just easier to transition now, or maybe this is Nick Sirianni, Christian Parker, Jeff Stoutland, and all these coaches. Are they really developing at an all-time high too? Developing these players, I'm saying. Look at what Coop just did. Look at what Q just did. Christian Parker was almost poached from us, and there was some outrage about, please don't lose him. Please don't go follow Kellen Moore. Please don't go to the Saints. We need what you bring to that secondary room. Maybe there's something to Christian Parker. Maybe there's something to a lot of these coaches that are helping out with the growth and development. It was brought to my attention, think about Doug Peterson's tenure. It was really just about maximizing the group and who you were, which is great. I don't give a damn how you win a bowl. Just win a bowl. But there wasn't much developing youth. It was your backup quarterback became Jesus for a little bit of time. and you somehow managed to survive all the most gruesome injuries you could. You got an interception, Patrick Robinson. Whew. Whew. Good times. Good times. What were we talking about? Sorry, I just got lost. Super Bowl 52. Took my breath away. I don't know. Let's go to another call.
Yo, what's up, bro? I know you already posted the video about the C.J. Gardner-Johnson news, but I just wanted to give my 2 cents real quick. First of all, I'm with the majority of people. I do not like this move at all. I understand it clears up some cap space. I understand that, maybe that guard from the Texans who was a first round pick, maybe that the Eagles could put him in at right guard and he ends up being a great player like Becton was, who never played the position before. But I just don't understand this move. C.J. Gardner-Johnson, there's no accident that C.J. Gardner-Johnson, the 2 years he's been with us, we went to the Super Bowl twice and won a Super Bowl. There's no accident with that. He was a leader for this defense. He was the pulse of our defense. He was physical. He stayed healthy this year. He had 6 interceptions this year. He was more instinctive this year than he was, I think, in his 2 previous years with the Eagles in 2022 and then the Lions. He was hurt last year with the Lions. I understand he has a little bit of an injury history and a little bit of an attitude problem. I understand that. But it seemed like he meshed well with the guys in the locker room. It seemed like the guys in the locker room liked him a lot. It seemed like he was just a good fit for this team and a good fit for Fangio's defense.
I'll stop it there a little bit. I understand where you're going. You're appreciating CJGJ, and I don't think there's a reason to not appreciate what he provides. But when you say you can't deny that where he goes, he wins, and when he's here, this team has done better defensively than when he wasn't over the last couple of stretches, and I see that. You also can't deny that that type of talent wasn't wanted in New Orleans. It wasn't wanted the first time around here. It wasn't wanted back with Detroit, and it wasn't wanted back again now. So there is something to that. And I do believe there were more hiccups throughout the CJGJ experience than people like to admit. And I'm not going to act as if you plug anybody in there and they just are perfect, right? 100 out of 100 all the time. Of course not. There's going to be mistakes made by whoever would have been out there instead of CJGJ. Players make mistakes. Mistakes happen. You have to limit those mistakes. But maybe it was uglier than we actually thought first glance while watching the games. They had number 1 defense, though. So to some level, it benefited you. It had to have. I'm just saying the film experts are at least saying, and maybe now that I'm thinking about it, does Howie Roseman want some of this leaked for that to be the story? Maybe. Howie's going to try and use the public leverage for sure as much as possible to sell it as Eagle-friendly moves in any way, shape, or form. I don't know. But I'm okay. I'm okay. I was shocked. I didn't see that one coming. That was probably the only one that I was shocked to see at everything that transpired. I was shocked to see the money go to Zach Bond, but I'm also not shocked they tried to keep one of the best linebackers they've seen in a long-ass time. Josh Sweat, that was known. Hilton, that was known. Isaiah Rodgers, I guess. But that isn't as shocking as CJGJ getting traded. What about this, though? Have we thought about this enough? Jeff Stoutland's voice. And what if Jeff Stoutland really did talk to Howie Roseman saying, yo, this kid Green, I mean, this is it. This is it. This is it. Trust me, this is it. And if Jeff Stoutland says that, you trust him. You go down swinging with that guy with an offensive lineman. The only guy that hasn't really worked was Andre Dillard, which tells you a lot about who Andre Dillard is, especially mentally as an athlete. He never seemed to fully have it. To succeed at the NFL level, I'm saying. I don't know if he was able to check in and lock in the way that you need to be wired. But anyway, I think Jeff Stoutland had a big voice and mentioned to Howie Roseman, this is the first round pick. I'm getting you a first round pick for CJGJ. And you don't think Howie Roseman would do that in a heartbeat while trying to get him off the books, or more about the cash flow? Not to get anybody annoyed with the technicality of it all. All right. With that, we'll wrap things up. I'm getting tired. I'm exhausted. This was a crazy Sunday here at the Broads house, so I'm beat. With that, thank you guys all so much for kicking it with me. I greatly appreciate it. You guys are the best in the world. Thank you all so much. Go Birds! Talk to you on the next one.